Now, in 2023, there is one of the best universities here in the country, one of the best private universities here in the country. It's called Kabarak University. Anyone heard of Kabarak University? It is one of the institutions that are doing so well in terms of several courses, also ICT inclusive. I'm not vouching for them, but that is what I know, because there is also Strathmore, the University of Nairobi. We also have some of our universities here in Kisumu, which are doing so well in terms of information and communications, mass communications. So nilikuwa kwa Kabarak University. One of the students, very promising student, aliona, wacha ni hack shule sasa. Si shule wamenifunza? Amefanya CPIT, amefanya ISOS, all those things. And then he decided to hack the university's social media. So he went ahead and hacked the university's Facebook. How was that possible? He first of all shut down the university's internet and then used his own internet to hack the system. I can access your system when you are not accessible to your own internet. That is how I can get to your system. So that is a cyber security issue. And this person went ahead and relayed information to the public, so everyone was following. Yes, hey, Kabarak are doing, are having some exciting offers. Nini. He went ahead and did a lot of things. As the university was trying to recover their social media, a lot had gone out there, and they had even exposed the university. Now that looked like the university even could not, do not have good IT people, and also people who are handling the communications department in terms of social medias and such like things. Those are very critical issues that we should take care of. Your access to information is your mental ability. If I access your personal details in terms of bank accounts, I can easily withdraw your amounts. That has happened even in our M-Pesas. I can easily withdraw amount from your M-Pesa, where ulikuwa umengangana, umefika mwisho wa mwezi, you've done your consultancy, someone has given you some good money, let's say 100,000, umeamua utafanya projects zako 2-3, and then you find out that that money is no longer there. Someone else has accessed your M-Pesa or bank account, and he has taken the monies. That one is something to think about. It's a data protection issue. And that is what we should embrace as a county at large, as Homa Bay County. As you live here, go enlighten your colleagues, go enlighten your people at home that data protection is very important. Recently, during the Gen Z protests, let me talk to anyone who has that anxiety of becoming a political personality in Homa Bay County. For example, in the future or even as of now. Kuna kitu inaitwa salimia muheshimiwa. Mulisikia hiyo? Ukileta mchezo hapo kidogo tunakusalimia. Kwambia wewe bwana Jeremiah, wewe ni mjinga wewe. Wewe unaendaje hii mpango ingine na sisi tunapanga kwenda hivi? Why are you not following what we as the people are saying? That is something to do with cyber security, and it is a data protection issue. Let me now enlighten you. Do you know, as a citizen, you can't be sued for that? For example, umenisalimia, right? I can decide to take your information anywhere, take you to court, and you'll be jailed for 3 years or give an amount of up to 30 million Kenyan shillings. Kuna kitu inaitwa defamation. Who has heard of defamation? Who knows defamation? Thank you. Let me just enlighten about that. Defamation ni ile pati ya unaingianga huko social media. Unasema, Jeremiah has spoken something to do with misinformation. That is that's why I'm using him. And it's also an aspect of defamation. So Jeremiah anajaribu kujifanya hapa county sijui yeye ndio nani, yeye ndio, like you spread rumors and misinformation of what is not true aspect of what Jeremiah is. You get? That is defamation. You have defamed me. You go ahead and tell people what I have not told you, what I do not think I've not even thought of telling anyone. That is a misinformation, and it is a defamation on my part. If I decide, I can take you to court, and there is nothing you can do about it. You get it? So you have to be very much cautious on the information that you are delivering to the public, however much you have the right to access to information. Menipata? So it's something that we should just take care of your mental capacity, mental conscience, to know that you're doing the right things and that you cannot find yourself in such scenarios whereby you are being harassed, reason being you've done a misinformation or you've presented a defamation case against someone who is protocol to the society. So that is the point for me. Let me finish up by saying we will also have to note the role of big technology and private sector compliance. By that, I mean Safaricom, I mean Airtel, I mean there is what we call Meta for us who are using laptops. That is what generates our Microsofts. There is what we call Google. You see nowadays, if you want any information, if I want to know about Jeremiah, I will go to Google and Google Jeremiah or Ludo. I Google and then I find something about him, right? So that is one thing that we would like to sensitize us on, and that is the role of big technology and private sector compliance. So as technology is advancing, we should also advance in human rights to ensure that it is inclusive to our human rights nature and what we are doing as people of Homa Bay, and that we are focusing on, for example, holding extensive personal data, which makes it a potential target for breaches or government overreach. So that only in itself, it strengthens compliance mechanisms and increases fines for data breaches, which could hinder our data security. So that is something very important that us as the people, we should take care of, and especially people who are looking forward to also become bloggers. I understand all of us are bloggers. You see, anything that you go post on social media, for example, it's not about, let me get away from politics. Let me say, okay, I understand there is a good age group of us here, people in our 30s, so I can relate to the situation. Let us say we are football fans. So we know Gor Mahia is a rival football team to who?
Chingwe.
Yes, Chingwe, FC Leopards. So sisi tunataka to spread our own rumors to make Kogalo look like they're always top, like as if Ingwe knows nothing, si ndio? Lakini me, I come from Chingwe. Me, I can tell you, we know the game. We know our long-term game, and we are planning something. So people of Kogalo have decided to go on social media, pale kwa Kogalo group. Chingwe don't know football. Chingwe don't know, I don't know, Chingwe has done this. You try to even personalize those players telling them, you abuse them, you tell them things about their data, you even produce their data to the public just to criticize their opponent. See, that is what they do. And then at the end, unapata, this person will not play in his form, or rather when he's fit enough to do the game, for you to win the game, or rather for us to win the game against who? Kogalo. Why? Because I was criticized, I was defamed, there was misinformation about me, someone has decided to leak something about me. I, Jaika Charles, for example, I want to become, that is for example, I want to become the Chief Justice of Kenya in 2050, for example. Then someone somewhere, because nilikuwa hapa Homa Bay, and I passed via a local club somewhere, and I looked indecent in a way similar not to what the society should portray me, and then somewhere Kachwanya decided to take a snap of me, and then in 2050 niko hapo kwa a panel like this, I'm seated here, all of us are interviewing me regarding the job that you would want me to serve Kenyan, which is the Chief Justice position. So as sorry brother, what is your name? Binaisha. Sorry? Binaisha. So as Binaisha is seated here, Binaisha decides to access my past history. That, hey, Jaika alionekana pale club ya Homa Bay in 2025. This is him. And then he supplies the information to the panelists. And then Jeremiah asks me a question as a media personality. Hello, Mr. Jaika. In 2025, that one rings my mind. It means it talks about, it speaks something to do with history, right? Tuko 2050 saizo. In 2025, at Homa Bay County, in a certain club, you looked indecent, and this is your photo. This is how you portrayed yourself. Is this how you're going to portray yourself while serving Kenyans? Okay. Is that a win or a lose for me? It is a lose, because the next person will come and give a clear picture about themselves even way back in 2025, as opposed to my content, even if I have content. But it means my conduct to the society is not straight. Sindio? See, I've lost it. So all that is being accessed, reason being, there is what we call internet governance. Internet governance is something to take good care of. Last year, I attended internet governance in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm also, like, I attend several internet governance. There is internet governance in Kenya, internet governance in Eastern Africa, and now there is an international one. So I had a privilege of attending internet governance in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, last year in December, together with a team from Kachwanya's Beck organization. So that in itself speaks on internet governance. Like, we should be able to govern our internet and protect our own personal entities in terms of the internet and data protection. With all that much explanation, I can go ahead mpaka kesho, but don't worry about it. You are welcomed for questions.
Like just as mentioned here, that internet access and digital divide within the county. Since you're in Homa Bay County, you'll make us know much about it. You're welcome.
Unajua ile part yenye, unajua being that a lawyer ameongea mbele yako, ikuja hapa like, unaona ni kama amefagia kila kitu. Collaborative actions. Like, how can government come in and then we collaborate so that people from Dewa, sorry, like, I'm not using Dewa again. Maybe people from Nyakacho, yeah. can get the right information concerning the access to internet. You know, like right here, let us assume in Homa Bay. Like for example, in Homa Bay, the internet rate or the internet speed is different from the interior part of it. So how is the government or the county government coming to bridge the gap between, so that the other people from that community can get the same speed? For example, we were talking about the shutdown. If at all maybe the internet, the connectivity from that place is not that well good, how can we bridge this? So I think that one is going to be maybe an open conversation for us here. And then, because I know the ICT manager is around. And then, again, another thing that I'm going to talk about, the monopoly. Like, how can we create maybe a call center when there is a breakdown of internet, maybe those areas? How can the government, maybe we have, like, for example, let me use the 911. We can report that there is an issue of internet breakdown in this area. And they, from the county government, like, you will come in, and then, let me say that like a reporting center. So the government will come in, and then they call the right people to solve that problem. And again, let me take the market aspect of it. How are these, right now, kuna hii internet, yenye kila bomba inapelekwa. What are the charges, the rates, right? Can the county government give them maybe a good package so that when they start distributing this internet to homes, each and different home, like at affordable price, so that we don't have that hiyo shida kidogo ya hey, sina pesa, because maybe the government, the county government is charging much higher concerning that their business, right? So let me then call for calls to action. Again, I'll talk, the next point is call to action. Step for policymakers and advocates, how the audience can get involved, right? You know, like how our audience can get involved, maybe through all this information that we want to be relayed out there. Another point is monitoring and reporting on ICT policies. Policy implementation audits, community involvement, and feedback, using data to advocate for change. I'll just give out, because I have around 10 minutes. Key challenges in Homa Bay County: limited infrastructure, high internet cost, digital literacy gap, policy gaps. Because I think on the cost, I've already talked about the cost. And then again, role of stakeholders, government, private sector, civil society, and communities.
Just to bring up to speed, what are the biggest barriers to internet in Homa Bay County?
The biggest barrier is the cost, right?
The cost.
Is
apart from the cost, is it accessible?
Yes, to some area. Yes.
Which area do you come from?
Rodikopan. Yes.
So you safe to say you can access internet in Homa Bay County from your space?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, there's something that, how does the digital divide
before you this morning, and I believe there is a time which is coming when we'll be asking more questions, because even me, there is a question which was burning on the bake, that if we have do we have this association as a Homa Bay have you escalated it maybe from the national to Homa Bay here? I've never heard something like Homa Bay Bloggers Association. I don't know whether it is there.
Yeah, so usually we have chapters. So like soon we have chapters. So Homa Bay we don't, but now I'm here. We'll talk to see how we can have that.
Okay. So it is good. There is the question which I've been asked here is about the efforts that the county has done in order to bridge the gap between the digital age. As a county, I believe all of us were here since the county started. That is from 2013 up to now. And I'm confidently here to tell you that as a county, we have done a lot of a little bit improvement, more so in bridging the gap in terms of digital is concerned. For us as a county, we have been trying to bridge this gap by one is improving the digital literacy. This one was started some way back when we got an assistant from the ICT authority. And those people who are here can remember that the ICT authority really helped us in when we were training our people. It was from all the wards. We got people from all the wards where we were trying to train them on the digital literacy. That is through the Adjira program. And the Adjira program, it is still running, and it happens from the sub-counties where at the constituency level, where on that we as a county, we try to train, we train over around 600 students from all over the county of Homa Bay. And the training it happened at Tomboya University. Those people who are there can remember. So it is something which we have really tried very much in order to bridge the gap in the digital divide. Because we realize that when we train these people is when they will have the knowledge of what is happening. Even though there was a little bit constraints of finances, because we were to be supported, we were supported by it was a collaboration between the government of Homa Bay and the ICT authority, where we trained over a number of our students on ICT issues. And that one in order to bridge the gap. Also, we have tried to improve our infrastructure as a county. We have tried to improve our infrastructure as a county in order for the information to reach to the public. Even currently, you've seen some what we call the digital screen, that is LEDs, which we are trying to put within the county so that our people are able to know what is happening within the county. Currently, we have what is called the ICT policy. On this ICT policy, it has a number of things that is going to help us, because the first speaker spoke about the data protection, which I don't want to go again to explain what data protection is and what is happening in the data protection, because through the data protection, you can do something and later on you can find yourself in the court of law. That is very possible, more so in the ICT issues. So at the county government, we have already developed what is called the ICT policy, which has a lot of how we are going to even the bridging the gaps of the divide on the technology things, that our communication, that our information can reach to the people. The policy that we have, it has already passed to the cabinet, and now the only phase which is remaining is to be taken to the assembly, of which we are very confident that since the assembly came this week, I think so, they came from the recess, they are going to sit down, and our policy is going to be tabled before them, and we are going to defend this policy. And by good luck, we believe that this policy is going to go through so that we can have it. Because without the policy, we've been having quite a number of challenges, because there's not been a policy in the county since the county government started. But with the government of Her Excellency Gladys Nyasuna Wanga, we are able now to come up with the policy which is going to guide us, to guide even in working in the offices, so that people can access the information and everything can be relayed to people. We also have we have also created public partnership with the ICT authority. Currently, we have talked with the ICT authority, which they are starting this financial year, where they are also going to help us to partner with them so that we can continue training more of our people, not only staff, but it is the residents of Homa Bay. If you can remember what we did previously from the years, we did that each and every member of assembly, it was to get around the number of students. Those are the Form 4 leavers, those people who did not have any ICT knowledge for the training. And the ICT authority were to pay for us only to facilitate the lecturers or the tutors, those people who were to lecture on the training. So this one is coming up, where we have done the partnership with the ICT authority, and from that I believe that we are going to be okay. So there is we are also trying to create to come up with the public Wi-Fi with the help of the ICT authority, and currently there are some of the other places that we have already spotted out, so that we can put our public Wi-Fi, because this one was a program which was being run by the national government, and also in the county government. We had also a budget for it. So we saw it good that it is not good that we can do a project and also the national government is also doing, but now we decided to come together so that we also chip in a place, because when the national government is putting, maybe for example in Oyugi's public Wi-Fi, then it is also possible that there is no need of us also running a parallel, but just putting more effort on what they are doing. We have done quite a number of Wi-Fi for public Wi-Fi. That is for just to disseminate the information to our people, and also to make our people okay with what is happening in the government. We've also talked about the last mile connectivity. This is, as we are all aware, that this is the installation of fiber optics cables access, and this one also is a project which is being supported by the ICT authority, because we all believe that with this last mile connectivity program, it increase the accessible, it increase the access of services to our people, and also for the bandwidth to be okay. Currently at the office of the governor, we have the connectivity has reached there, the fiber, of which we were trying to escalate it to all the departments, so that each and every of our department can reach this. But unfortunately enough, we are also now at our office, which the county is building a new office, which by end of 31st March will be going there. So we are also installing the fiber there. The fiber has already reached there. We are making some final touches so that the fiber can be there to help our people in this for the last mile connectivity. So this last mile connectivity for the fiber, it is not only for the county. but it came for even fiber to homes. People are connecting it in their homes. If you are able to connect it, you are able to connect it, and also the fiber for the buildings. People are connecting it in the building, maybe in the premises where they are doing, somebody can be doing business or what. So it is very important, because with the use of this fiber, we've seen it when we are using it in the office. It is, now there is, for those people who have used maybe streaming of video live, you've seen of how when you use a fiber optic, the streaming of video online becomes very easy, and it is not, it doesn't take time, but it is very important when you use it, and also when things like gaming and also data transfer, which I don't want to talk about it because the data transfer, we've already heard of how data is being transferred and the Protection Act, which is there. So I believe that if there is any question, we can handle the question. And also more, we are also doing, for the bridging of the gaps, we are doing what is called the digitization. Digitization at the county, we are doing what is called we are trying to digitize of our departments by using a system called ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning, where we have one system, but it is being used in all over. This one system which is running the payroll, it is a system which is running the HR, and it is the same system which is, you can just get it within the departments of all the departments within the county, so that you can get them. So we are also in the process of digitizing some of our policies online so that we put them. We also have our website, which I believe if you access our website, there's a lot of things which I don't want to talk about, but you can access our website. There is, it is a current where you can get all our information, what is happening, and more so, I think what I've talked about is the LED screen, which is now going to give us the real time what is happening in the county. I think I'm able to stop there and wait for any question from you. Thank you.
A round of applause. And just like chat with him just about time, about many other things that the county is doing to ensure that they bridge the gap of digital literacy in the county. Right about now, we have the most senior person in here in terms of government hierarchy. And I want to tell you, your people are happy that they have seen you. They finally got you where they wanted you. So just prepare. Maybe you have a case to answer. But just to take us up to speed, I want to do a formal introduction of, where's my paper? Our next speaker on the floor is none other than Atieno Tieno, the Chief Officer, Public Communication, Homa Bay County. You know, she's also the government spokesperson. I didn't capture it here, but it's pretty important for me to let it out that when you speak, the government has spoken. She will be discussing the county's access to information situation as it is. You can take up the floor and give us a ride.
Asante. You're gonna hold it. So it doesn't hang badly. Will it work for you? Perfect. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I had prepared a speech, but when I walked in here, so everybody is my buddy, so we can just have a conversation. I think I know more than half the people in here. Either we've worked together like Mr. Kachwanya there. Did he tell you how we met? So I've known him for many years. So when he reached out, I was talking to a very familiar person. Thank you for having me. Mr. Kachwanya, our director, ICT, I saw you. Such a pity. I missed the presentation by Binaisha. Is Binaisha? Okay, I missed that. Would have loved to attend it. And then Charles also. Yeah. So I missed that as well. But I appreciate everybody. I appreciate that you organize this, and particularly here. Rural towns are seldom included in these discussions. So what you have done is something admirable. Thank you very much. And let's continue having these conversations. As he said, my name is Atieno Otieno. Actually, it should be Atieno Otieno Otieno. But yeah, so I'll just use Atieno Otieno, that's enough. Jeremiah here is also someone I've known for very many years. So we'll talk about access to information. But before I get there, I was intrigued by this conversation on digital divide and bridging that gap. Recently, I was in Nairobi, and maybe some of you know that part of my life, I'm really passionate about stories about people and documentaries. So I document stories. So I met this man who's 60-something years old, Samuel Onyango. He has a taxi just outside Hilton, in between, people who are familiar with Nairobi, in between Norwich Union House and this other house. There are a lot of taxis there. So this man had a very old taxi that he's driven for like 30 years. And in, I think, 2015, when Uber was first introduced in Kenya, they protested. Remember, taxi drivers really protested. That's when we were moving in a big way into the digital space. And work was changing. How taxi business was done was changing. How accommodation business was done. Everything was changing. Remember even the digital migration that happened in the country. And there was a lot of, for a long time, people had no access to TV and content, and there was a lot of brouhaha around it. So Samuel Onyango, till this date, is driving the same taxi he's driven since 1995 or thereabouts. And he's never moved. And sadly, he's having to wrap up, and he says he's retiring. Why? Because the digital space has not welcomed him. I feel that transition was not done well. That transition was not handled well, even for our own taxi drivers. If it had been done better with digital literacy classes, so they would understand that that move would actually give them more returns, he would not be retiring. And there are many like him. I met a number of other old men. I would call them old because they're maybe 20 years or 30 older than me. And they were moving from that space, and they were moving and wrapping up business because the digital space has not welcomed them. And there are many like them. And there are many like them. While the digital space offers a lot of opportunities, unfortunately, in our country, there's nobody holding our hands properly and leading us there. So such conversations are very, very important. Work, they have said that the future of work is now in that space. Okay? The future of work is now in the digital space. We will no longer have permanent and pensionable jobs for people. And you can be here and freelance for a company in India, for a company in wherever. And that's a conversation we can have for a very, very long period. But then it's not just about the gadgets. It's about the bundles. That's also a gap. And then it's also about navigating that digital gadget. How do we navigate? How do you move around and get to know how to use it? I saw a video in Burkina Faso where somebody is teaching people how to use WhatsApp. Just WhatsApp. Older people, how to use WhatsApp. And these are things we can do in our homes, in our other spaces. Go to an older person and teach them how to use WhatsApp. Because otherwise the world is moving and they're being left behind. If everybody is accessing news on their phones, how about those older people? That's why we've left them to radio. A good thing, and also, can also be a bad thing. Because there's content that they're not accessing. How do you ensure that they access that content? so that they're able to have their tentacles, everywhere, like you all have. You can access any story you want from any part of the world on your phone, but they don't have that, okay? So anyway, by the way, I noticed some gender imbalance in here. There's also a digital divide in that space. Tunacho wanawake nyuma, wanaume wanasonga. So I walked in here and I'm like, where are the women? I started counting and I saw an imbalance. Kachonya, next time, jaribu tu, vuta tu wanawake juu. Sawa? Friends and colleagues, I want to talk about access to information. And in Homa Bay, and we'll be reaching out to you, we have an access to information bill. So we'll be validating it very soon, and we'll invite all of you because you're all stakeholders in that space. And we'll have a conversation about it, okay? I know government likes to hoard information because people are always like, this information can be used against me. So I will not talk about it. Let my boss or somebody else in the hierarchy talk about it. And maybe it's because of lack of information or just a bit of ignorance. And therefore, we need to let everybody know that by our constitution, we have a right to access information. My office is that bridge between the seekers of the information and the holders of that information. So we are trying, even for us who are in communication, and my colleague is here, and she can attest to that. You can even call a minister and to find out, hey, Niaje, this, they're like, you'll see a bit of hesitance in providing that information. We are not custodians of that information. Every department is, and ours is to pull it out and drag it out of them. So this awareness creation will also have to start in our own house. Create awareness that yes, you hold the information, but you're only holding it on behalf of the members of the public, okay? You are a public servant for a reason. You are an agent. The public are the principals. They're your bosses. Because of their taxes, you get your salary, and you get money to run your projects and programs. Therefore, you accord them that honor. If they need the information, hand it to them. It's their right to know. Sometimes you're accused of too much PR. I call that proactive. We actually proactively share information. You might call it PR, call it whatever you want, but we will not stop. We will provide that information as and when you need it. We are only there temporarily as your servants. So therefore, we owe you that information. If we are checking if this and that is working, we have to let you know that we are doing exactly that. If we are, for example, in cabinet, we'll have to let you know because you are our bosses. It's like a report card. Every time we have to tell you or just let you know that actually you gave us a job and we are doing it. And we have to let you know. So that's something we do very well as Homa Bay. And since Kenyans are not used to too much information, they call it PR, okay? Call it whatever, but we'll continue doing it. We think we're doing the right thing. Anyway, I cannot downplay the significance of access, internet access. And I'm glad our director made it here and he was able to share with you the plans that they have. And if we didn't have this forum, you probably wouldn't know what the county is doing or what the national government is doing. So I'm glad we had that conversation as well. Mine is to, again, just thank you for for arranging for this forum. When you reached out, I also said, okay, there are a few bloggers we know. Who are bloggers in this space or in this county? Please invite them, because you cannot call yourself Bloggers Association of Kenya and the bloggers are not in the room. Well, we can argue about the definition of bloggers till, kingdom come. But if you identify as something, you better be respected as that thing. So I'm glad you did this, but on the chapter, let's strengthen it. Let's have some power. Let's have some power. I wouldn't want young people to be used as guns for hire. You're used, you're paid a little bit of money, you're dumped. Then you start, running around. There's a way people can organize themselves so that even this blogging business can be sustainable. it is possible. Recently, there was something about the digital superhighway infrastructure that the bottom-up transformation agenda is about. So I hope we will also benefit from it. They want to connect hospitals, they want to connect TVETs. I hope we'll also benefit from it. Apart from that, I appreciate everybody. My office is always open. I have seen some people who don't visit anymore. I don't know what I did. I still have soda in my office. Please come by. Please come by and let's talk and let's see how we can lift this great county. Thank you very much.
For questions, for discussions, as we move forward towards the end. Our last presenter, ndo tutaanza na yeye. Juu niliona kama Moro ako very much interested in some information that he needs to churn out. Omoro, maybe just kwa haraka haraka utuanzie.
Yes, to the chairman of Bloggers Association in Kenya. Yes, as you said, this is your county. It's a challenge that makes strategies on how you can devolve your office to this county. And then on access to information, I think the chief officer, you can shed light on that, more light on that, because I've had some complaints that sometimes journalists are not able to get certain information from the county government with the expected expediency. And then to the ICT, you are all, you know, okay, we have the ICT authority, which is an agency of the national government. Maybe you can tell us the particular activities that the county government is doing in regard to ensuring that residents get ICT services. Thank you.
I would want to ask the Chair of Bloggers Association, in your presentation you mentioned your registration, then of course the aspect of tagging your names or the members of the association. Yeah. Maybe you'd want to brief us whether this is anchored in a particular law that really gives you the free will, so that when maybe in terms of operations, you're not hindered in any perspective.
Information to the public. Well, of course, they're called digital screens, but out here people are calling them Genoa TV. Maybe just to let you know. Then there's also this question, they're questioning, why can't they show other things besides what the county government is doing? Because they're comparing it to what Mr. Bado was doing in Migori. It would show football. Of course, there are people who have TV in their homes, they can watch that, but there are also others who are interested in seeing things, different things from what's been shown there.
I just want to ask why county government feels that press briefing is all about write-up, not really considering those who are working in TV, those who are working in radios. That is one. Two, to the person who talked about public Wi-Fi, I don't know why after it is installed in, let's say, Homa Bay, how safe it will be to the public using public Wi-Fi. Thank you. Did you get the first question? Sometimes when there is an issue, you release press release. Yes, so I don't know how conversant you are with this, that it reaches every media house, because some of us are working for radios and TVs. So by having that press release.
Yes, I'm Robert Molo. I work with the Star newspaper. And I would like to ask Mr. Chwanya.
Yes.
You find that, how is your organization working with the Media Council of Kenya to ensure that there is that close working relationship? And what procedures you required to ensure that someone who is a registered member of a Bloggers Association does not get into, or maybe mainstream media, and you find that this issue of abduction, there are only targeting bloggers. What kind of, do you have a way of protecting your people? Yes. And if somebody has not registered with you as a blog in this association, and this person is really blogging and or masquerading, how will you know to ensure that the person is protected? Yeah, thank you.
So if somebody is not registered,
it's not registered, yes.
Blogging,
Yes.
so how will you know?
And the content is producing is really making Kenyans to follow them.
Thank you. Are you lining? Fred. Yeah.
My name is Fred Odongo. I'm a filmmaker, an actor, and a producer. I have a question to ICJ Kenya Project Officer, Mr. Charles. I recently developed interest in media, and I'm not a trained journalist, but I have passion in it. And whatever I do is more on digital projects. I would like to actually understand how I can go about piracy and copyright, because sometimes we have news or information that we'd like to share, but you cannot access them in time. The people who are supposed to reach out to give us a grant to use them. And maybe to the ICT county office. Recently, in the same process that I try to manage media, I came up with a project. I'm working on digital marketing, and I'm trying to upgrade the scale between youths and their approach to the market. So my first project was working with some vocational training center where they train youths on the technical approach. And I've been trying to engage them in a way where they can now face the market with whatever they've been trained to do. So we came to realize that the youth have no much to do with internet or the digital literacy. What is the country preparing for this? Because if they go out there, they would like to market their stuff. We would be training them on how to do the marketing under digital marketing, but now they are not literate when it comes to ICT. Thank you.
We'll go to Mr. Kachwanya. There was something that was said here before by Mr. Charles about bloggers. Like he talked about misinformation, defamation, character assassination. Then there's also something called propaganda. Because if you look at the way we view the bloggers, when we hear of the word blogger, the perception that comes is about the misinformation, propaganda, defamation, and character assassination. Like, just for example, we have Team Genoa. Team Genoa, what kind of work do they do? You see? Because when somebody talks of Team Genoa, what comes to our mind is about protecting the government, the county government. And Madam Atino also talked about what we call, I mean, before I go to her, how do you handle such kind of cases so that they don't fall into legal trap?
So just to be clear about it, so you talk about the perception about
yes,
about this propaganda and all that. The question is how?
How do you deal with the matter? Then Madam Atino also talked about digital gang for hire. Digital gang for hire, if I'm not wrong, eh? Yes, for hire. Yeah, it was like a challenge to our colleagues, that is the bloggers.
Yes.
That don't let yourself be used, because most of these people are used by politicians anyway, to propagate their lies, to defend them in any way. But Madam Atino was trying to say that before you do that, because you know when the responsibility now entirely lies on you as an individual. So Madam Atino, as chief officer in this, the Department of Communication or Information, how do you always verify what your bloggers are doing, what Team Genoa are doing before they dispatch this kind of information for public consumption? Yes.
Okay, allow me to speak while standing. Jambo. Niko na homa kidogo, you'll excuse my voice. It's always a nice one, but leo nimechanganyikiwa kidogo. My name is Gordon. I'm a typical political blogger. Yeah, so I'll first begin with the boss over there about being used. I'm learning that there is such organization in Homa Bay for the first time this morning. What are your plans, actually which plans do you have to ensure that youths are mentored and brought up in a manner that they know that blogging as an initiative earns? That's one. Two, how often do you conduct orientations or teachings on the type of content that we, bloggers push to public? I know you'll be handling that. To my boss, Atieno. The government, just the other day, erected the digital TVs to ensure the information goes to the people directly. I don't want to go back into some that they've asked before, but how will the government ensure that a common man from Kaboch, where I come from, access the information? Because I'm from Kaboch, we only see electricity cables and poles in town like Homa Bay. Internet now is a nightmare. So you'll be responding to that. And to advocate, we are the most targeted lot as a political bloggers. You people mistake our contents for PRs, for insults, for conflicts, and any other things. And my aim as Gachagua will pronounce it. How do we ensure that a common blogger like I do, like someone has just mentioned that he's not professionally brought up to this platform, but there are some of us who are just developing love and interest for this industry? I don't know whether the question is out already. The question is there. So how do we ensure that this common mwananchi who is a political blogger is protected from abduction? Because from look of things, I'll be abducted soon. So I want to go to jail or to exile, knowing, do we have rights? And if yes, how? Thank you so much, and asanteni sana. I like Chwanya. I like being a leader. Ensure something about media and bloggers imefanyika Homa Bay, and I'll be the ceremonial chairperson. Thank you so much. Hiyo imeenda.
Asante sana, Florence.
Good morning once again. I want to direct my question to Mr. Emmanuel Katho. You talked about projecting free Wi-Fi to different parts of the county. What exactly are you targeting? Because when CS Owalo was in power, they were projecting free Wi-Fi to different parts, and they were talking about creating access to foreign jobs to the youths, which did not really materialize, especially in this part of the country. So what exactly are you going to target with your free Wi-Fi?
Thank you so much. Sasa tutaanza na Kachwanya. You ni kama you got a lot of questions to answer here. You'll start with the question that was asked by Omoro about involvement.
Okay. Okay, so as I said when I was speaking earlier, I said I regret I'm from Homa Bay and our presence have never been felt here. Unfortunately, we have done a lot of things and most of the time we ended doing it in Kisumu. So that is on my part. So going forward, as I was saying earlier, we are going to work closely, and I think the communication department, the fact that I reach out to them, and the chief officer is here, the colleague is here, so that means the county is welcoming. So in terms of involvement here, I think I'm going back with the message of we need to come back, especially on the digital literacy training for bloggers and content creators and even media people. Actually, we do that, and I'm coming to that on the question of how we work with the Media Council of Kenya that was asked also. Yeah, so yes, we are going to be very much involved. One thing with when we do a chapter, we always need to have people who are actively involved. It's good to be organized. It's very good to be organized because in the era of abductions, you need to know where your colleagues are. And also the good thing about being organized is that, when we started Bake, the idea at that time was we do the content and we help each other to, promote our content. And if you're a content creator, you're just there alone. Even media people, that collaboration is very good. If you are collaborating with your colleague, if you are sharing the sources, that is very good thing to have. So yes, the question of involvement, just know that we're going to do that actively.
Just force.
Okay.
Got someone who is very important to this.
Do I give the... okay. Just a minute, we'll give you this.
Needs to be on record that you came. Okay, it's okay. Good morning, everyone. Short. I'm a bit held up. I can't join you, unfortunately. I'm working on a few things. But my name is Stephen Muga.
Okay, so I'd talked about the involvement. Then there was the question of if you are registered, if our organization, is it anchored on the law? I think that was saying. And like if we give you the membership card, like is it legal or something like that? Yeah, so if I understood it right, the question. First, of course, we are a registered association. We are registered and society. So we are legal. BEC is legal from 2013. So that's one. And two, in terms of collaboration, so we have worked with the Media Council for a long time.
to the extent that we developed the digital guideline for ethics and guideline collaboratively with the Media Council of Kenya. So we are still on the essence that if you have the BEC card, and that's what I was saying earlier, that is recognized as any other the Media Council card. So if you go with it to any government office, if they have an event, you produce that, you will not be turned away. If you go to UN, they know the card. So that means that BEC is known. Actually, BEC is known internationally, so you never worry about the legality of having BEC card. In terms of here, of course, let's go back to the involvement there. Obviously, if we have a proper channel in terms of chapter, but the first thing is how do you register to be a BEC member? So usually, we have a website called bec.co.ke. When you go to that site, there's a registration process where you just simply go through. You'll be asked to pay 1,000. 1,030 something, I think so. Kuna ile ya kutoa. Yeah, so you will be asked to pay that. And then once you register, we reach out with more details about the technical support, especially with the people with the blogs or starting your own blog. So we have IT team that usually will reach out and help you if you need that. Of course, we have the legal support, and this is also a question that somebody will ask later about the abductions. So we usually have legal support. We work with the Law Society of Kenya closely, that's one. We work with a number of organizations like ICJ, that's why you see Charles here. So we work with the ICJ. This is the juries of lawyers. I know Charles tried to tell you that. It's all the membership are there. They train judges, they train all these people. So we work with them. We work with the Article 19. We work with different lawyers as just partners. Yeah. So in case, and this is usually happen that I don't say it because I know there are people who are not part of our members, but one thing that I'm proud of is we have handled a lot of challenges, but mostly for bloggers who are non-members. Our members are top, yeah? They know these things. We do a lot of training. And I know somebody also asked, how often do we train? We do train a lot, and that's why, again, I'm sorry that we have never done Homa Bay County. And to say Homa Bay and Migori, we have never come this side. So that is something that we have to correct immediately and see that we have that done. Yeah, so there was a question how BEC is working with the Media Council of Kenya. So yes, so we have developed a joint editorial guideline with the Media Council, especially to do with the digital practitioners. So it outlined this. It's anchored both at Media Council of Kenya and at BEC. That's one. And two, the BEC card is recognized by Media Council of Kenya, and we are trying to have a situation where if you are trained by BEC, you are able to apply for the Media Council of Kenya straight away without more hassle in between. So in other words, as I was saying, that divide between the bloggers, the question has always been like, if you are a blogger, you are not a trained journalist, yeah? So you don't have that, you have not gone to school, yeah? But with time, we realize that the content that bloggers are doing are good. So we just need to have that training within the system to ensure that we bring that to par. So we do try to that training so that we bridge that gap where that most people are complaining that bloggers are not trained and that. But you know, like with time, internet has really changed what media is. And people have to appreciate that. And the whole media aspect now is not the traditional where you have to go to school and do that. Because somebody sitting in Homa Hill somewhere uko will write something and get the attention of the old world. Yeah. So how do you challenge that? That is citizen journalism. So that is there. There was somebody who was asking, oh yeah, the abduction and targeting bloggers. Yes, this is one thing that bloggers, most of them, you know, are very direct. They say what's in their mind. And as I said, when I was starting here, remember I was talking about a blog being a journal. It started as a journal, which means you just say what you see, you just say what you think. That usually rub people the wrong way. Yeah? Some vested interest will be rubbed the wrong way if you are direct. Now, the question is always that if you are trying to say something and, you know, like media will say, oh, I need the right of reply. You need to, if you are talking about the county, you need to reach out to Atieno then they say before the information go out there. But bloggers most of them don't do that. Simply, I know something, let me put it there. So that's why we do a lot of training to ensure that if you do it like that, it's still okay. But just ensure that your information is 100% correct so that you don't have the misinformation in between. If you doubt yourself, reach out to the target subject so that at least you get their point of view. It's always good. I find it that it's also good to also reach out to the target because there's something you will always learn, even if you are not going to take the point of view that what I'm saying. So what do we do for these abduction issues? One thing that we have been doing, but under the radar, is constantly calling the Law Society of Kenya. And these guys are really helped out in terms of, you know, going out there to represent those who are abducted. And also, as I was saying, we also have a team of lawyers that we have just partnered with them on individual basis. So we have also put them there on alert. So that's what we have been doing mostly on the abduction cases. And we were looking at if there is any case that go to the legal aspect, but we realized that none of them are doing that. So none of them are there, either abducted, then after some time you are released. And this has been the case for a long time, that most bloggers, you find that you arrested, you are charged, or rather you are taken to court, but no, you are taken to the police station and then you are not charged, then you are released. What we realized for a long time, it was, you see, this defamation. The law, Kenyan law has already put it clear. If I defame you, take me to court. But what people want to do, especially the most senior people in the government or even the private sector, they don't want to go the legal way. They want to intimidate. Yeah? So they call the police to come and arrest you, and so that you know you are dealing with mkubwa, then you are charged. I'm not charged. You're put there. That's why, especially the time when there was this thing like Friday, people get arrested and all that stuff. Yeah. What was the other question? Perception. I think somebody was asking about perception. Oh yeah, somebody is not registered but is doing very good content. How do we know, or how do we deal with that? Yes. So one thing we keep on trying to reach out to all the people to join the association. But that doesn't mean if you are blogging and you are not registered with us, you are not a blogger. Remember, ours is a self-regulation. You guys understand what self-regulation means? Yeah? It means you are not waiting for government to pass a law and regulate you. Yeah? You are organizing yourself and saying these are the rules that guide us based on consensus within our members. So it's self-regulation. Yeah? So if you are outside that, you are still a blogger. And BEC doesn't define who is a blogger. So don't go out there saying, if you are not a member of BEC, you are not a blogger. No, we don't define that. But self-regulation helps with so many things: collaboration, training, opportunities, and we also have all this. I know somebody asked, I think the next question is, how do we help the young people to make money online? So that's one thing. If we have a good team here of bloggers and we know them, and we have a campaign, because some of the campaigns we have that, you know, one thing that BEC also does is we also, like a link. So there are organizations that want to work with a number of bloggers, they approach us. and say, okay, we want to work with a number of bloggers like this. So can you give us the list and the names? So if we have you on our database and we know the type of content you're doing, if it's political blogs, I don't know which other bloggers in the room, and I want, after this, please, let's just, if you're a blogger, let's have just a small, like, I know that you are blogging on this content, you are blogging on this content, because it's good for us. If I'm working with the ICT, or I'm working with Safaricom, and I tell them, I have 2 bloggers from Homa Bay, they will be very happy, because one thing that most of these organizations want is that rural reach. That rural reach. So having a team here will be very good, and that's why I want to talk with the self-appointed chairman, so that we see how do we get all these guys and see how we can build a chapter here, and that chapter will help us out. I had so many questions directed to me. Let me just finish them. Then there is the perception about bloggers. I think my friend there was asking, saying, he has gone outside there. Yeah. So he was saying that if you think about bloggers, you think about propaganda, you think about, and then there was the gun for hire. Remember, I also mentioned this, that it's spoiling the name of bloggers. This is something that I say, that we don't say people should not make money. But you need to see the intention of people you are working for. So if you're working for people that to them, so it's one thing to say something which is true, yeah? But it's another thing to make up stuff. And that's happened a lot with politics. So that's why we keep on saying that we as organization, of course, we're not going to tell you don't. Of course, we tell you do the right content, but we are not, like you see, like it's self-regulation. So we are not, and we are also not advocating for government to come in and say, control these people. No. The whole thing is, we have to elevate the quality of content, both in terms of, the quality of content. So this is why we do a lot of training instead of, trying to fix people. Of course, we have the ethics, the big guideline and ethics. So when you join, you will see that, which the other one also we developed with the Media Council of Kenya jointly for the digital practitioners. All of it, we did, be it the mainstream media, be it the bloggers, be it the marketers. We tried to have that happen like that. Okay, so the last one, I think the second last or the last one. So plan to do with, to ensure that the youth are trained on making money online. So I've just mentioned that. We will try to come back for the training. But another thing, if we can try to find out all the bloggers in the county and register them, and I don't want to say, don't look at it, register them. But we want to know where them, what are you doing, then we can have that and see if we are able to either come for training, or if you have an opportunity, we call you or we get that done. How often do we do training? That's my last question. Training, of course, it's a resource-based thing, so you obviously, you have to have money to do enough of them. So we try to do as many as possible. What I've been thinking since this question came up, I've been thinking about what I realized that we have overtrained in some places. So we have overtrained in Nairobi, we have overtrained in Nakuru, we have overtrained in Kisumu, we have overtrained in Mombasa. We have done a few here, we have done a few in Eldoret, Nyeri, yes. But when you look at the big urban centers or big cities, we have overdone in those places. So my challenge now going forward, our program will going to look at all the counties. And to say the truth, one of these things that I'm going to do next is going to Busia. I think towards the end of this month, to do the same thing we are doing here. Yeah. So I think our program is going to expand, and we have already started. That's why we are here. We are going to Busia. So the next time, This was more participating engagement, but we'll come back to see now we have a proper training. So we have simply how do you create content, how do you handle your blog technically, how do you create quality content. We are coming back. That's that. Jeremiah, I think that was the last question directed to me. Yeah. And before I go, also I wanted to ask the ICT, the county director of ICT, the deputy director of ICT, but I think she had asked about it. I was wondering how uniform your public Wi-Fi is throughout the county. If you are on the extreme end, you know, there is somewhere that, you know, this might be propaganda of Nairobi, but there's somewhere in Rusinga Island, I don't know if Mfangano, it's the other side that they were saying they are not seeing vehicles and people are running to them. Is there a plan for the extreme ends of the counties?
Thank you. What I wanted to say is that
Yeah.
it's a plan to come back.
Yes.
Remember, this is home.
Yes, yes, yes.
I want to feel you.
Yes.
How many years?
Yes, yeah. No, we have to come back.
Stefano, the floor is yours. I think you have an area of questions to you.
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Let me start with what my brother had asked about the digital screens that nowadays people are calling them Genoa. It is good sometimes when somebody has a slogan and that slogan sell. So when you call them Genoa, that one is just to advantage to us. There's no problem. But there is reasons. The reason why they are there. One, it is to tell the public, to inform the public of what the governor is doing, what the county government is doing as far as projects are concerned. If you remove the idea of Genoa while standing to those screens, you will definitely learn that there are a number of projects that we have done within the county which we could have not known without those digital screens. Somebody may be saying that, okay, we run them as per the county, as per the sub-county. All the projects that have already been done in all the 9 or 10 counties that sub-counties that we have. And also what you are asking is about the sports issue where you want to watch the news and the rest. Yeah, it is also coming when on these digital screens we were putting them as per the modules, the first thing first. So they are yet to be handed over, and by the time they shall be handed over, all that you are asking is already in the pipeline, where we are also going to watch the sports, but it is not meant for that, but only for some sports. And majorly the sports that we are going to watch there are the footballs which are going to be played at Raila Odinga Stadium. Those are the majorly that we are going to watch, but the other ones, not much, but they are going to be there. Also, the news also are also coming. I've said that we are doing them partly, and it is only some 1 week when we install them, and they are in course. The other one is for the target for the county Wi-Fi. This county Wi-Fi is targeting for the youths. Those are the youths that we are thinking of, that our target, in order to provide the accessibility for the internet access to them, for the public in space. So we want this public at least also to enjoy the internet, and where on using this internet, a number of the public will utilize online information for maybe different purposes like education, employment opportunity, and even entrepreneurship. Like what our brother is saying, nowadays there's a lot of working online, and those are the things which We have put them in the budget this financial year that we are starting now on training of how people can work online, because our idea was to train the public of how people can work online. Then later on, when we put all this public Wi-Fi, somebody can go there and work online, do the subscription, all that, do the writings, so that you can get something through the digital empowerment. So, and also the jobs over the internet. A number of youths may not know whether there are jobs, but if they come access to the internet, the public Wi-Fi, they may be able to know all these type of jobs. What you are talking about, the extreme end, we talked with the Safaricom. I think as at now in the Homa Bay County, there is no extreme end that we can say that there is no internet. Because me, I'm the person who comes a little bit from the extreme end because I come from Nyandiwa, but there is internet there. So that one we did when we were using, when we were employing our system for revenue collection system, where we realized because our revenue collection system, it is real time, and it even uses the bank. Somebody collect, you switch it to the bank immediately. So when we were doing some research, we realized that those extreme ends were still much behind, but as at currently, there is no any place which we can say that is a little bit extreme end in this county government. Be it in Mfangano. In fact, if you go there, they're even better than even Homa Bay. You will even find that here in Homa Bay, maybe there is no internet connectivity, but those parts we've really catered for them just because of our revenue collection system, because it cuts across all, it is within all the Homa Bay, within the county. So we did not want a situation where our collectors are in those extreme ends and they could not do what is called data syncing, because after collecting, you have to sync the data to the bank. So they are doing it, and that is the reason why recently you've heard that we are the best in the revenue collection within the counties, the 47 counties. That one came because the Safaricom and the rest tried to help us in deploying those gadgets so that our people could get the access to internet very easily. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you, When you answer your question, the question you asked in terms of digital marketing.
Yeah. Our youths for this, for the training for them. Recently, we started with one of the Nini here. Some few youth polytechnics, of which we started by training them, but we've not exhausted all the TVETs or the youth training which are within the county. But we've already floated a budget for that, and definitely I believe after a few months everything will be okay. But it is catered for. It is catered for. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anybody who does not speak Latin in this room? Latin is Yawa, Aworo.
I think it's next to you there.
We are sorry. Language barrier, he must suffer. Otherwise, we'd all be conversing in Latino in here. Anyway, as I'll wait for Moro to come in, someone asked about the content we show on Genoa TV. But I think the ICT director has responded to that. Press briefing, why we send press releases only on print. I think sometimes we do that. I do acknowledge what you're saying, and maybe you'll do better, but sometimes we do that pretty late in the day, and sometimes it's a very quick statement regarding an emerging issue. And maybe not easy to call everybody to a press briefing, but I acknowledge what you're saying, and in future we will actually do better. Okay? Yeah. Someone asked if we verify bloggers' content is also not here before they send it out. No, we don't, because we exist within a formal structure. You can call the bloggers sort of informal. It's their personal choice to share our content, to speak in our favor. So therefore, we don't verify. What we verify is what we release as a government. That we must verify. The content that goes on Her Excellency's pages, the content that goes on our website, that goes to the media, that goes to our social media pages, we verify. What the bloggers post, we don't. How do the people in Kabwoch, how will they know what's happening? That's why we have diverse media platforms, because we can't reach. That's why there's even Radio Girwa, there's Gulf, there's Namlolwe, there's Mayenga. All these are platforms, and they have their own audiences. So we reach their audiences in their different platforms. These screens are solely made for people who are either traveling through the city or are within the city, because Homa Bay is becoming a city. Somebody called us a rural. Where's Kachwanya? We are not that rural. We are a town, and we will soon be a city, by the way. So it's just that, and like the ICT director mentioned, the plan is to have this in every sub-county, budgets allowing, okay? Those bloggers not trained. No. Someone also talked about, although it wasn't my question, about bloggers not being trained. Also, there are community radio stations. Sometimes they have reporters or presenters who are not trained. But you have organizations like Deutsche Welle Academy that actually formalize it and train them till they actually get the skills to be able to report in a more professional manner. So it happens. So again, I also just want to say that the media is evolving. Since 18-something, Morse code, Samuel Morse, when he came up with the first platform, must have been 18-something. Then in Kenya, must have been 19, the first newspaper, maybe around 19-something, 1902, before independence, then KBC came, 1960-something. So it's evolving. Even this blogging business is very new. So it's changing pole. And pole things, there'll be structures put in place, I believe, with the help of people like Beck, so that we are more formal in our engagement and in our dealings and in the content that we get out. I think that's all. Those are all the questions that were asked. I wouldn't say point a finger and say that's a blogger. I believe even reporters are bloggers. You write content about your opinions, that's blogging. I blog about my own personal experiences. I blog about my children. If you read my content on Facebook, I like to write about my children. I call them issues. Issue numero 1, 2, and 3. There are 3. So, and they have a lot of drama. There's a lot of drama in my house through these issues. So these issues, through them, I tell the stories about motherhood and about my personal struggles. So blogging is not like those people blog, these people blog. That's like a journal, like he said. But finally, I just want to let our friends here know, all of you, because you'll be part of this journey. On 8th of March, we have the International Women's Day. The entire country is coming to Homa Bay, and there's a likelihood that the president will be here. So that's big. Then we have Mashujaa Day, which is also big. This time it's coming to Homa Bay. Then we have the Devolution Conference. That's another big one. It's all coming to Homa Bay. So you guys will be very busy, and I look forward to your support. Asanteni.
Hello team. Hello. Nilikuwa na maswali matatu, 3 questions. One from Gordon, another one from our friend who's left. Another one from our friend here, and there was also a question from our friend at the corner. So the 3 questions, 2 of them I'm going to combine because one of the question ilikuwa inauliza government operations and why abduction is only, why abductions targets bloggers. And then the second question, which I'm combining with what Gordon asked, that was how do we ensure that bloggers are protected from abduction? Do we have rights? So let me start with those 2, and I'll be brief enough. To start with, I will say that as a blogger, and I'm sure Kachwanya will explain to you, that's why he's insisting on the impact of us getting registered as bloggers, or rather you can register yourself with a certain association. Vijana comes up with several associations. They register themselves, they get to update themselves on whatever is going on. You make sure at least you are part of some of those initiatives. That one is for your security purposes. And for example, if you are a member of BEC, member of Bloggers Association of Kenya, that means that Bloggers Association of Kenya has your records. So whenever anything happens to you, whenever anything transpires to you, it means that Bloggers Association will have an upper hand to advocate for your right. So your right will be advocated from whenever you are, and that will ensure security of what you are going through, right? Then I will give the third instance, which is here as, okay, I'm sure some of us are in a working setup in companies. Normally, companies provide for security training. There are those security trainings which are very important, and we need to be very keen on what we are being trained about. Like, for instance, myself, I also involve myself, I engage in security training, and that is what, that is part of normal day-to-day wakili's work, as you said. Like, you need to sensitize people on what to do when a situation finds that person, or rather, how can I overcome this particular situation since I'm in it? So security training does not mean that ni security normal securities as we are thinking, but it's the nitty-gritty of what security is. For example, you can be trained on how do I secure myself from things like abduction as a blogger? You can be given tips like, as a blogger, for example, wewe unajua you are a political blogger. So let us assume anything can happen to you. How prepared are you as a person? You get, that is something, it's a rhetorical question. It's not like I'm asking. That is something that you should take initiative of. You should be careful, you should be very keen that what if this thing happens to me? Then what are the next steps am I going to take? Because you see, when abductors, I'm sure you've watched those videos, when abductors come to you, they don't come like it's a friendly thing. They come like it's an enemy thing. They will come to you, wrap you up. First of all, the first 10 seconds, they normally pick your phone so that you cannot do anything with your phone. In case you are on setup mode that alerts anyone about your whereabouts and everything, then they normally go for it and then switch it off. So you lose your powers. They make sure you lose your powers. And then they take you to those hidden areas whereby no one will identify. And for example, if you are in that road alone, you are along that road alone, and you've been caught by abductors, do you know no one will know where you are? That is why there are some people who've been abducted until to date, they have never been found. Reason being, there was no that security alert amongst them. So as a blogger, there is that aspect of, do you work with a whistle, something of the sort? Those are common things. Do you work with a whistle? Now, for example, if you do not have a whistle, once you've been abducted or those guys have come for you, make sure you scream to the loudest of your tonation. That is when people can identify that something is wrong somewhere. You see, that is a security on your part. I'm starting with personal security before I go to the law. So make sure you scream to the loudest of your voice for people to identify that something is wrong. Now people will start discovering, huyu jamaa amechukuliwa by force akekwa kwa hii gari. That means it is a security issue, and probably there is a possibility of what? Abduction. So that is something you should consider. So I urge Kachwanya and maybe the county at large, ICT Deputy Director, I'm seeing you are here. It is very important at some point you do public advocacy in terms of security training. It is something you can raise with the county. I know some counties which are doing that. They come to the villages, they sensitize people on security issues. Like for example, when you've been abducted, how can you go about it? Because at some point you see the county is not involved. So it's not like it's the county which has abducted someone and something has happened to someone. You see, it's a loss for the county because the county would wish to protect its own people. So you give sensitization to people in terms of security. And also yourself, there are also YouTube, they're called YouTube short videos that will sensitize you. They will give you tips on how to protect yourself whenever you've been found in such situations. So those are some of the things. Now, let me head back to the law. There are several laws that protect you as a person. For example, freedom of expression. There is that access to information that Madam has spoken about. That is very much important. There is the law generally here in the country. And besides the country, there is the law across the world, which is an international law that protects people against infringements, or rather whenever their freedom of expression has been hindered. Kachwanya has mentioned an organization called Article 19. The organization is called Article 19, reason being it is an article under international criminal justice. So it is an article in itself. If you read Article 19, it speaks to something. If you Google Article 19, it speaks to something to do with freedom of expression. So it sensitizes you on the fact that you have freedom. You can speak anything, you can talk anything. However, you are also protected. You are not supposed to be pushed to the corner because ulisema ati uliambia jamaa fulani ukweli. Ulisema wewe hapo ulidanganya watu. The shouting uongo and whatever. That's not supposed to happen. So Article 19 is one of the, I started by that because it's an international law that protects you as a blogger. That's why we will always go to court as ICJ Kenya, we will always go to court as Law Society of Kenya to defend you as a blogger. And you've seen all bloggers have been defended by the Law Society of Kenya, ICJ has been there, Kenya Human Rights Commissions have been there, medical facility, whatever have been there, and all those areas. So make sure you also familiarize yourself with organizations that deal with these things. For example, you are here and you've seen someone has been abducted. What is the first initiative are you supposed to take? Go to search your Google, look for Law Society of Kenya, for example, look for ICJ, International Commission of Jurists, for example, look for their contact and call them. Tell them, here at Homa Bay, on this road at such and such a time, someone has been abducted, and you also try to capture some of the information of that abduction, which is very much important. You can take a video, you can take a picture with your phone as fast as possible, and then you just post it on social media just to to provide advocacy around it. So that is a protection, protection towards your next brother, your next sister, and anyone who is just next to you, that you're protecting their interests. So I think that one I've handled. So it's very much important. So to end on that is that data protection protects you as a person, as a blogger. You see, each and every data that you bring out, you're also protected in the Data Protection Act 2019. It speaks to, whenever you go to court, it speaks to, like, you've relayed the data, but you did not mean to offend anyone. So that one is a protection in its own. Okay? Now, forgetting about that, I'm going to my last question, which was asked by my brother somewhere. It was on, he was asking on how can you go about piracy and copyright in relation to data protection. He says he's a blogger, not by profession, but he's a blogger. I told you everyone is a blogger. Everything that you write that is controversial and has gone public, that is blogging. You have blogged. You like it or not, so long as it has gone controversial. So there is the issue of piracy and copyright. Sijui kama mmesikia what we call pseudo accounts. Like someone amejua, hey, Gordon is very famous. So he goes ahead and creates an account with Gordon's name, Gordon's picture. However, Gordon is not aware about it. And then he's spreading information against someone using Gordon's name. That is misinformation on its own. And it's something to do with piracy and copyright. So there is an organization in Kenya that is called the Kenya Copyright Board, KECOBO. Normally it has a board of directors and hotline. In case of piracy and copyright, you go to info@copyright.go.ke. When you go there, you'll find lawyers who will address your issues. So just look for KECOBO, KECOBO. In full, it means Kenya Copyright Board. That is where you can report any issue to do with copyright and piracy. I hope with all that I've responded to your questions, and I look forward to enlightening us further in case we have opportunity.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for getting the time to come and join us. During this discussion, you know too well what we were focusing on was the right information. It was just a workshop and more of engagement. And as you know, we were started off by Kennedy Kachwanya, the Bloggers Association of Kenya chairman. And what he was talking about was right information through the lens of digital storytellers and watchdogs. And we had Otieno, who also talked about the critical things in ensuring access to information in Homa Bay County. We also had Binaisha Ngala, who is a tech and internet advocate. We also had Emmanuel Katho, the ICT Deputy Director, who was talking about bridging the gap. And then Charles Jaika, ICJ Kenya. As we expand access to information, we also must learn to protect the citizens. Then we are done and folded. And I want to thank you all for finding time to come and be with us. We're looking forward to much of such interactions. And as Blake Chair had said, we'll make maybe a co-production training for the bloggers, for the journalists, so that we can see on how to bridge the gap in terms of the critical thing: information, misinformation, disinformation, the fake news, and also be in tandem with what is required of you as a journalist or as a blogger. Thank you all. I can welcome Ken to say maybe a word before we close up with a word of prayer from Elder Eric Odek, who will also pray for our team.
Oh yeah. So there is tea there, please. Don't run away before you take that. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think I've enjoyed this discussion. This was one of the best I've done so far. So, as I said, we are going to re-strategize and see how we are going there. We're going to come back. And also, as I said, if you are, if you are in that position to help us to create a chapter here, please see me after this. We have a small chat. And then if you're also doing good content on your online, this actually everyone, it's not bloggers alone. I know journalists now have their own blogs. Yeah, we are in this together now. So if you have that, just do that. So I'm not going to do that because I think Tina wanted to go. We need to take a group photo. So we can't just come here so that because she wants to leave.
Chai